Hello and welcome to this week's news bulletin from the Christian Institute. MPs have voted in favour of a proposal to protect people's sincerely held beliefs on marriage. The vote, won by a margin of 86 to 31, followed an impassioned plea from Conservative MP Edward Leigh for changes to the Equality Act to protect freedom of conscience. Whilst the outcome of the vote is non-binding, it is seen as further evidence that the government has not properly thought through the implications of their same-sex marriage bill, which is to be debated in Parliament on Tuesday. Mr Leigh said the recent cases of Adrian Smith and Lillian Liddell persuaded him that those with conscientious beliefs on marriage need to be protected under law.
And the government's bill, as presently drafted, does nothing to protect ordinary people's conscientious views. So Adrian Smith and Lily Liddell can be mistreated at work. The bill offers them no protection. These people should be protected. Indeed, Aidan O'Neill QC has produced a legal opinion pointing out that NHS and army chaplains can argue their case for traditional marriage in church on Sunday, but they could find themselves in trouble in their workplace on Monday for articulating the same views.
He continued that teachers in schools are also vulnerable and could be disciplined or even sacked if they decline to teach any new definition of marriage.
The Education Act requires schools to teach about the nature of marriage. If marriage is redefined, they will be required to teach the nature of same-sex marriage. Teachers who decline will find themselves in the firing line in the same way as Lillian Liddell did.
Meanwhile, a leading divorce lawyer has said that the concept of adultery could be removed from the law if the government's same-sex marriage bill comes into law. In the bill, only unfaithfulness between people of opposite genders counts as adultery. Aisha Vardag, a divorce lawyer, said that the difference between heterosexual and homosexual marriage law could now pave the way for adultery to be abolished. She said, "The only appropriate and balanced way to deal with this would be to scrap the act of adultery as a basis for divorce altogether." The mother of Justin Bieber is producing an anti-abortion film to raise money for centres in America that try to deter women from having abortions. Pattie Mallette, who herself resisted pressure to terminate her son Justin when she was just 17, is hoping screenings of the documentary Crescendo will raise $10 million. She said, "I hope the film will encourage young women all over the world, just like me, to let them know that there is a place to go, people who will take care of you, and a safe home to live in if you are pregnant and think you have nowhere else to turn." The film is due to be screened at the end of February. Some of Britain's poorest people are increasingly being drawn into using addictive gambling machines, according to new statistics. The number of high-stake gaming consoles has mushroomed following the relaxation of gambling laws in 2005. They allow players to stake up to £100 a time and up to £18,000 an hour. Now, statistics from the Campaign for Fairer Gambling have revealed the extent of the problem across the country. The report showed that in one area, Liverpool Riverside, which has the fourth highest rate of child poverty in the country, people gambled £197 million last year on high-stakes betting machines. Local MP Louise Ellman said, "It's a sad fact that poorer people use these machines more than others. It's a very disturbing and worrying trend." But a spokesman for the Association of British Bookmakers dismissed concerns, saying, "According to independent planning reports, they add to the vibrancy and vitality of the UK's high streets." The mother of twins who survived after being born at just 23 weeks has criticised the current legal abortion limit. Pam Glover says the law, which allows abortions up to 24 weeks, needs to be changed. Mrs Glover gave birth to boys Mackenzie and Cameron at just 23 weeks, and they are one of the most premature sets of twins ever to survive in the UK. She said, "For us now, the idea that it's possible to abort a child up to 24 weeks, older than Cameron and Mackenzie were, just doesn't bear thinking about." Mrs Glover added, "It's a message we'd like to get across, that the abortion limit should be lower." Meanwhile, a cross-party commission chaired by Fiona Bruce MP is to investigate whether too many disabled babies are being terminated under current abortion laws. Mrs Bruce said the inquiry will seek to establish whether there is room for a review of this legislation, bearing in mind both medical advances and advances in our attitudes to disability over recent years. And finally, a special farewell service was held at Durham Cathedral this week for the Right Reverend Justin Welby. It marked the Bishop of Durham's last official engagement before moving to take up his new calling of Archbishop of Canterbury. Bishop Welby acknowledged that there are some huge challenges ahead, but added that the Church was there to be a source of peace and hope. He commented, "At the centre of the Church is Jesus Christ, who is described as the light of the world, and the darker the world, the more obvious the light. The Church has often been at its best at times of difficulty because, as people are drawn into worship, they find someone who is faithful, whatever happens." Bishop Welby will officially receive the title of Archbishop of Canterbury at a formal service in St Paul's Cathedral on the 4th of February and commence his public ministry following his enthronement at Canterbury Cathedral on the 21st of March. Well, that's all for this week. For more information and regular updates on all of our stories, plus much more, visit our website at christian.org.uk. Until next time, goodbye.